So potty training was a success for a while, but now your child is showing regressive behaviors. Whether that looks like they're demanding that you put their diaper back on, or they're pretending or insisting that they are a baby, or they are backsliding into more and more accidents. We consider a child to have regressed when they are returning to a former or less developed state. So they were once having so many potty training successes, and now they are having more and more accidents. So in this episode, because I know how hard it is to deal with potty training regression, I'm going to share common reasons why kids regress in the first place, and then I'm going to share my step-by-step process on how to deal with potty training regression like a pro. So let's dive in. Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Dr. Jasmine. I am a child and family psychologist, as well as a wife and mom of two. And around here, we love to talk about all things positive parenting, including discipline, tantrums, aggression, and of course, potty training. So if you are tuning in on YouTube, consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my uploads and you join the family. Also, a huge shout out to everybody listening in on podcasts. Thank you so much for leaving a kind review. It really does help to support my work. Now, before we dive into this video about potty training regression, I want to share a free gift with you, which is my free potty training quiz. Is your child ready to potty train? It is completely free, and it'll help you decide whether or not your child is in fact developmentally ready, and then depending on your results, what to do. So whether your child is ready or they are not ready, what are the next best steps? So you can go to themomspsychologist.com/potty quiz to take my free potty training quiz. Number one reason why your child is regressing is because they were not developmentally ready to start potty training in the first place. Number two reason is they are experiencing high levels of stress and uncertainty in their environment. So many kids start having more and more accidents because they are in a time of transition, aka change, which causes stress. Whether that transition is fun and exciting, like going on vacation or starting a new school, or whether it is really stressful, like divorce or moving to a home and they're not excited about that, right? Doesn't matter whether the change is quote unquote positive or negative. Change in general for all of us causes a level of stress, and for some kids it can be common that they start to backslide into accidents because they are underneath all of it stressed out. And so keeping that in mind, that your child is experiencing some level of stress, can help you know how to navigate potty training regressions. Number three reason why your child has started to regress in the potty training journey is that there is some underlying health conditions, commonly constipation, right? Which can cause pain and lead to avoidance, where they avoid the potty, they do not want to go, and then they inevitably will have an accident. So you want to try to rule out whether or not they have a health condition like constipation that can be causing more and more accidents. Number four reason is that they are fearful of the potty. Commonly what looks like resistance in our kids is really their underlying fear and anxiety. So they may worry that they're going to fall in and be flushed down the toilet, or they may be fearful of the loud flushing noises, or just fear of a toilet monster. But somewhere deep down inside, they are scared of something related to the potty, and that can lead to regression. And the other reason is that they just plain simply get distracted. A lot of the times this happens with a new school. They're in a new environment, they're around new people, new friends, and there is just so much going on. It's exciting, it's stimulating, and it's a lot, and they just forget, and they forget to go. They get distracted, or they don't want to go because going potty is a lot less fun than playing with their friends or playing with their favorite game. And so they put it off and they forget to go, and well, wouldn't you know, they have an accident. So that is a common reason. So now let's talk about step by step how to deal with potty training regression like a pro. So step number 1 is, again, determine the root cause of the potty training regression. That's going to be really important because that is going to help you decipher what are your next best steps. So for instance, if you've decided, okay, you know what, I think they're regressing because I started too early and they're really not ready to potty train in the first place, then you're going to decide to take a break and do a couple other things while you wait in between and try to wait for another window of time to start the potty training process again. Or if you determine it's due to a medical condition, then of course you're going to treat that. And you're going to go to the doctor and get, recommendations on what to do next if it's an underlying health condition that is to play or that is contributing to their accident. Or maybe it's because, there were some issues in how you taught them to potty train. And now you're going to reassess your approach and change up your style. So it really is so important to try to determine the underlying reason why they are regressing in the first place before you do anything else. And step 2 is to maintain a consistent potty training routine. This is very important that, if your child is starting to backslide into accidents and you've determined that it is important for you to continue, it's really important then to reevaluate your potty training routine and make sure that it is very consistent. And you want to start prompting them to go potty before and after transitions, like transitioning from playing to grabbing a snack, or transitioning from getting dressed to heading out the door. You want to use those natural transitions that happen throughout the day to prompt your child to go potty. So before and after transitions is a good time to prompt. Shortly after waking up and after meals are all good prompts, or even before meals. They're in the bathroom anyways, washing their hands. That can be a good opportunity for them to try to go potty. So again, using those natural transitions and just making sure that you have a really good, consistent, solid potty training routine is really, really important to prevent those accidents. And then step number 3 is to give gentle reminders and prompts. So you want to take them to the potty every hour or so, give or take, or ask their teacher if they're finding that they're having a lot of accidents at daycare or school. You want to ask their teacher to start prompting more often. And let's say at the hour mark or at the hour and a half, whatever you determine is kind of the most appropriate, just depending on their schedule. After that mark, let's say you prompt them and then they're like, I don't have to go. Then you can wait about 15 minutes and prompt them again if they did not end up going potty. And then of course, if they did go potty, then you restart the counter. But just having more consistent prompts and reminders can be really, really helpful, especially if your child is just playing and forgetting to go in the first place. Step 4 is to return back to the basics and do all of the things that you did in the beginning, including reading potty books and having potty-based themes around your play, and going naked from the waist down, or even giving rewards if that's something that you did in the beginning. Oftentimes is really, really important if your child is showing regressive behaviors when it comes to potty training, to go back to all of the things you did in the beginning to get them back on track. So if you went naked from the waist down in the first couple of days of potty training, then you want to go back to that so they can get that feedback, that physical feedback of them having an accident, right? And that can also help you know when to prompt them and just be mindful, right? Or if you gave rewards in the beginning, maybe it's time to go back to that and help to shape that behavior. But go back to whatever you were doing in the beginning to help get them back on track. And don't underestimate the power of play, as well as children's books about potty, whether it's going pee or going poop. If they're struggling with one of those, you want to load up on those children's books, and I'll definitely include the links under this video if you're watching on YouTube, and also podcast as well, of some of my favorite potty training related books for kids. And step number 5 is to stay as positive as you possibly can. Don't lose hope, and try to be positive and uplifting for your child, because the fact of the matter is they don't want to make mistakes, right? They don't want to disappoint you. They don't want to have a mess, right? They don't want to be all wet at school. They really are trying their best. And so if you can avoid showing your disapproval or your disappointment in your child when they have an accident, it's going to go a long way in just helping everybody have a positive attitude and stay hopeful. Also, you want to avoid, of course, punishing them for making a mistake, because that does nothing more than just add to their anxiety and add to the likelihood that they're going to have more potty training mistakes in the future, potty training accidents. So when they do have an accident, because they will, you can just say something as simple as, oops, you had an accident. Let's go sit on the potty and see if any more potty comes out. And then from there, you just enlist them in getting involved in the cleanup process, including getting, fresh new clothes and cleaning up the little puddle on the floor. You definitely want to involve them in the cleanup process, but in a very light, non-judgmental way. Just, this is what it is, right? A happened, so now B has to happen. And we're going to do this together. Now let's discuss a few specific situations, some of those situations that I mentioned in the beginning of this episode. So let's say, for example, that they are demanding that you put their diaper back on, right? They're like, you need to put my diaper back on right now. I do not want to do this. Now, if you have determined that they are developmentally ready to start potty training, then you want to ditch the diapers altogether, right? There really, ideally speaking, shouldn't be any diapers even available in the house. Now, if you have younger kids, of course, that's not going to be possible. But if they are the oldest, ideally, or the youngest, I should say, if they are the youngest, ideally you ditch diapers from the get-go. So even if they demand to put on a diaper, you're like, I don't have a diaper to give you. We could let go of those. So I, recommend that you have a goodbye ceremony at the beginning of your potty training journey, and you say goodbye to diapers altogether, whether that means you're going to donate them to other kids or save them for another sibling on the way, or whatever it is you want to, just out of sight, out of mind. Now, they're most likely going to sleep in pull-ups, which is completely fine, and I do have a separate video on nighttime potty training, but I even recommend calling those something different. Those are not diapers anymore. They are our nighttime underpants, and you want to get the ones that look different from their usual diapers, and maybe they have a certain character on them. So there are Mickey Mouse underpants, for example, but you want to give them a whole new name, and even buy a different, again, buy a pull-up versus a diaper, so that they can make that distinction in their brain, so that they're less likely to demand that you put on their diapers in the first place. But again, it's common, and it happens even when you've ditched the diapers altogether, for kids to be like, I don't want to do this. This is harder than I thought. This is not fun. I want to go back to my diapers. And again, if you've determined that they are developmentally ready, then you want to stay consistent, and you can validate their feelings. I know that this is hard, right? I know that you wish you could go back to wearing the diapers, but we've said bye-bye to diapers, so there's no more diapers. But again, I know that this is hard. Tell me how you feel, right? Tell me all about it. I'm here to listen. I'm not here to fix your feelings, and I'm going to maintain this boundary because this is, what's best. But I still care about how you're feeling. So it's totally normal and okay for kids to want to regress in that way, especially if you're welcoming a new sibling. This is commonly when it happens, or there's a new sibling in the family, maybe extended family or what have you. So commonly that happens for the little ones, and it's totally understandable, and it's okay. Yes, you will always be my baby. So be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Let me know down in the comment section if you are watching on YouTube what other potty training questions you have, so I can continue to make helpful resources for you. And huge thank you to all of my listeners over on podcast. Thank you so much for leaving a kind review. It really does help support my work. And again, don't forget to take my free potty training quiz if you are having some questions on, is my child really ready for this or not? You can go to themomspsychologist.com /potty quiz to help you decide whether or not your child is ready to potty train. And then from there, whether or not they are ready, based on your results, I'll give you the next best steps. So again, go to themomspsychologist.com /potty quiz to take my free quiz today. All right, that is it for this episode. I will see you in the next one. Bye.